The witness to holy name of Jesus as used by the child Christ embraced in the Gospels. Have you heard of Ignatius of Antioch? Not to be confused with Ignatius of Loyola. The former was one of the more important children we find in the Gospels, embraced by Christ himself, and a great follower of Christ until his bloody martyrdom. According to ancient Christian tradition, the story of Ignatius of Antioch begins not in adulthood, but in the very presence of Christ himself. Many early writers believed that Ignatius was the child whom Jesus placed in the midst of the apostles in the Gospel of Matthew. Calling to him a child, he put him in the midst of them. Matthew 18:2-4. Jesus embraced the child and taught the apostles that true greatness begins in humility. That child, tradition says, was Ignatius. For the rest of his life, he never forgot that moment. Whenever he passed the place where Christ had held him, he would kneel and kiss the ground, thanking the Lord for having once taken him into his arms. This early encounter shaped his entire spirituality, a lifelong desire to remain small before God, wholly surrendered to Christ. From disciple to priest, a life formed by the apostles. Growing up in the Christian community of Antioch, where believers were first called Christians, Ignatius was formed by the generation who had known the apostles personally. He absorbed their teaching, their discipline, and their love for the Eucharist. As he matured, Ignatius was ordained a presbyter, priest. His preaching was marked by a burning devotion to the holy name of Jesus, a deep reverence for the Eucharist, and a fierce commitment to unity in the Church. He was known for speaking the name of Jesus so often and so lovingly that later tradition said it became engraved on his very heart. Bishop of Antioch, shepherd of a great church. After the death of St. Evodius, Ignatius became the third bishop of Antioch, following St. Peter himself. Antioch was one of the most important Christian centers in the world, and Ignatius quickly became one of the church's most respected leaders. He guided the faithful through persecution, doctrinal confusion, and the challenges of a rapidly growing church. His holiness was not theoretical, it was lived. He fasted regularly. He prayed constantly. He cared for the poor and the persecuted. He preached Christ with apostolic authority. His leadership helped shape the structure of the early church, especially the unity of Christians around their bishop. Arrest and the road to Rome, choosing the cross. During the reign of Emperor Trajan, Ignatius was arrested for refusing to renounce Christ. Instead of resisting, he embraced the path before him. He saw martyrdom not as tragedy, but as imitation of Christ. Escorted by Roman soldiers across Asia Minor towards Rome, Ignatius wrote 7 letters to Christian communities. These letters are among the most precious documents of early Christianity. In them, he begged believers not to prevent his martyrdom. "Let me be food for the wild beasts. I am God's wheat, and I shall be ground by the teeth of beasts to become the pure bread of Christ." His words reveal a man who had already died to himself long before the lions touched him. Martyrdom in the arena, a heart marked by Christ. When he reached Rome around AD 107, Ignatius was thrown to the lions in the amphitheater. The beasts devoured him completely, except for his heart and a few of his larger bones. According to a beloved tradition, when the Christians gathered his relics and opened his heart, they found the name of Jesus formed in the fibers and arteries. The name he had spoken, preached, and loved had become part of his very flesh. His final witness, the first written use of Catholic Church. Among all his contributions, one stands out as historically monumental. In his letter to the Smyrnians, written on the road to martyrdom around AD 107, Ignatius gives the earliest recorded use of the term Catholic Church. "Wherever Jesus Christ is, there is the Catholic Church." Smyrnians 8:2. This is not a later medieval idea. This is apostolic-era Christianity, spoken by a bishop formed by the apostles themselves. For Ignatius, Catholic meant universal, whole, united, faithful to the apostles, gathered around the bishop, celebrating the Eucharist, professing the fullness of the faith. His martyrdom sealed this testimony. His life, his preaching, his priesthood, and his death all pointed to the same truth. The church founded by Christ and handed on by the apostles was already known as the Catholic Church in the 1st century. The church is the bride of Christ and his body, and the pillar and foundation of truth, as we see in 1 Timothy 3:15. Do you think it is important to be a member of this same body and profess and defend the same teachings as the apostles?